Hey everybody, it's Annette. I wanted to get on here real quick. This video will probably post Monday. This is coming up the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene in North Carolina, and I will be going back for the first time to that specific area in a year. A year at this time, I was getting ready to go to prepper camp with a girlfriend. I had already bought the tickets, booked the hotel room, and it was a Thursday like today. And we knew the hurricane was coming in, but because it's mountain areas, I wasn't too worried about it. I just didn't want to drive in it. So she kept calling me, freaking out and having anxiety. Just crazy anxiety, and rightly so. She's got a daughter at home, a young daughter at home, and a husband. Of course, I got a husband, but I don't have any young ones living at home. So about 3 o'clock, I said, look, I'm going to go with or without you. If you want to stay out, sit it out. I think you need to be at home with your daughter. And that's what she did. So I had been listening to my radio. I've got this Lawrence, I can't say it right, but GMRS radio, had my license, had to obtain my license, was listening to the no radio station. This was a godsend during that hurricane, honestly. But I was listening to it, and it was predicting the hurricane would hit that area that we were going in about 3 in the morning. I'm like, okay, I can leave work, get there, and I'll be okay. I'll just sleep throughout the night. Well, classes, obviously, prepper camp has all these classes over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Friday's classes had already been canceled. So I'm like, I'm going to go there anyway, because once the hurricane hits, the weather's not going to be able to be drivable. I have the hotel room reserved. So that's what I did. I went ahead, and once I got through working, I had everything packed and loaded. I was out, and I got there safely. Everything was fine, small rain. And of course, as predicted, sometime during the night, you could hear it breaking loose. Limbs snapping, power going on and off. I was at a hotel. I was not at the camp itself, but you could hear the rage of the storm. So the next morning, I got up, had a breakfast, because I've been through hurricanes before in North Carolina, and you get wind trees and the tornadoes. We're used to that, so we're kind of impervious to that. I had no idea what had happened and what was going to happen in the hours and the weeks after that. So I got up, had my breakfast, finished my second cup of coffee, and the lights went out and did not come back on. So I drove to the prepper camp. GPS does not tell you that a tree is in the road. So I was going to a place I didn't know that well, and I would get to a road. I'm in a compact car. I would get to a road, and there would be this huge tree felled across the road. No way to get around it. So I'm doing 3-point turns, trying not to get stuck where I don't know where I am, and then turning around. And I was really glad that my girlfriend didn't go with me, because I could not have taken her anxiety and my anxiety. So I still had cell phone service at that time, still had my radio, had brought a lantern, battery operated lantern, had all those things. I had some MR emails in the car, and 2 gallons of water with me. I wasn't really too worried about that. So I tried an alternate route and another alternate. It took probably 3 times to get to where I needed to go. Well, till I found signs of life. And by then my anxiety was kind of spiked up. I saw the police lights. And again, not understanding the damage and everything that had happened in that area. The policeman, I told him, I'm going to prepper camp, and he told me where to turn. And I'm turning and I see a long line of cars, and I'm thinking, oh God, a wreck. That's the first thing I thought of. That was my instinct. Oh God, a wreck. It was people lined up at the gas station. And the Wednesday before I'd left, I'd filled up my car. I was going to put it off till Thursday, but then I'm like, I just get it over with. I'm so glad I did. It was backed up for about a block, and anybody who's been in that area knows how that was. So all that to say this is that I went to prepper camp. A lot of the instructors could not make it there, literally could not make it there. Those who were already there, some of them could not even get back to their hotel room because of all the felled trees. The road going to the camp had lines down everywhere. I was having to navigate my car under lines, on the road, around tree branches. It was, and I've never been in a war zone, but my idea of what a war zone would have looked like, I'd never seen anything like that anywhere, especially in North Carolina. So got there, took the classes I was able to take, and talked to the instructors. Everybody had their radios, and that was good. The communication stayed up. And then class all day on Saturday, but on the way home, it was the same kind of problem on the way to the hotel, trying to find a road that I had already mapped out, at this time I had written stuff down and had GPS because I knew things had gotten real. A felled tree. It took me several tries to get a road to get back to my hotel, which was maybe 25 minutes away. And the reason I didn't stay at the camp, I didn't have a camper at that time. Sorry, I got a hair in my face. I did not have a camper at that time. I didn't have tent equipment to sleep in. It would not have been feasible, even if I had all that, to bring that. People who had pop-up campers were having to book hotels and stay there. So I contacted my husband and I said, look, I'm staying tonight at the hotel. I'm skipping classes tomorrow, it being Sunday. I said, I'm heading home. Heading home was a traumatic. It was crazy. We would be places where you would normally hit I-26 and there would be trees in the road. And there would be the men out there. I'm saying men because that's what I saw. I'm sure women were helping too. Okay, so please don't think I'm that person. This particular one was men. They were cutting up the tree. We waited there. We were thankful for them. We thanked them for all their help. They got the tree cut up enough to where cars could pass to get back on I-26. Going down I-26 on the way home, going up or down, I don't know. I suck at directions. That's why Marty, that's his specialty, not mine. The size of the trees that I saw that had fallen and the landscape that had completely been altered, and again, not knowing the loss of life, knowing that things had gone horribly wrong, it was surreal. It was like driving through a nightmare. So I got home safely and obviously did not have internet, and at that point did not have phone. I had texted my kids to make sure everybody was all right before I left the hotel. I knew for a fact with things going sideways that we wouldn't have power. We're in a rural area, so I knew that. Texted everybody, let them know I would be off the grid. Did not know when I'd have access again. Contacted my team at work to let them know the situation. And I also looked up, because at that time there were some things I didn't have, how to heat up food without electricity, because I didn't have it. Now I have a fondue pot, and I also have a little propane heater, indoor propane kind of heater thing, or stove that my son got me. It's a camping stove. You can either use that outside in an open garage or inside with ventilated well. So I used, there's, got it on YouTube, you can see it. There's a way you can put canned food, 4 cans or however many cans you want, put tea lights around them or candles. And there's different things. There's the muffin pan method, you're using actual tea lights or candles, and put your little pot on top, surround it with aluminum foil, and then you can heat up water, heat up food. So I got to heat up my food. I had foolishly forgotten that I didn't have instant coffee. So I had, like, between the stress and the anxiety and everything's just being weird, and then learning eventually about all the chaos that had happened. And I wish I could tell you how I learned all this, unless I drove somewhere that had Wi-Fi. Right now, that part is kind of blocked out. But we were without power 7 days, and was without coffee, had a screaming headache, lost 6 pounds in 1 week due to stress, went to work, was able to drive to work when the power was restored at work, because they were out too, in the internet. So they were restored first. It's a bigger city, and they had their power first. I was able to go there. Our water came from water we were collecting in 30-gallon drums outside. We had clean drinking water. We had plenty for the animals. I had filled up every single container. I keep probably 20 different gallons that we reuse for the birds outside. We had plenty of water. The saved rainwater was what I used to bathe out of a bucket. On the 3rd day, when I couldn't stand my hair anymore, stuck my head in the bucket. So the one thing that we had on our side is that when it happened, it was during September. At the end of September, it was different than this year. It was not as hot. That was a saving grace. Had there been no AC, that would have added another lethal element to people who were trying to survive this. So no power, no internet, and then as I'm getting reconnected with everything and finding out what all had happened, how many people we lost, the whole landscape of those mountains, Chimney Rock, Lake Lure, Saluda, all those places where people had lost homes. I-26, part of that was washed out. I mean, the landscape is forever going to be different in those areas. A lot of things are still building up. This will take years. It took at least a year for them to have clean drinking water in that area. And as you heard on the news, there was no way to communicate. Elon Musk provided the Starlink in North Carolina, and they were able to communicate through those satellites. We could have gotten an emergency kit at home for that. However, by the time we would have gotten the equipment, it would have been a month. And I'm like, I don't think we'll be out of power in a month. So all that to say this, it was devastating. It was like, because I've lived here so long and the mountains have been so much a part of my life as well as other people's, it's like a spiritual connection to something. And there's just something about the mountains. I can't explain it. When you go there, when you visit there, if you've never visited, I do highly recommend it. Both my kids went to university in Western North Carolina, and they fell in love with the mountains. I don't know anybody who goes there and does not form some kind of physical and spiritual connection with it. It's just so beautiful and unspoiled. Learning about the people who lost their homes, my power was nothing. My lack of internet and phone, I knew my kids were okay. I knew they had two brains. My son is an experienced camper. I knew he had what he needed, and he was not in the mountains. He was in another state. He was in a relatively safer place. My other son is up in the mountains, but it was like an hour past the chaos, even though they did have power and internet outages there. So for the first time in a year, like last year, I went to Silva in December, but this will be the first time going back to, I guess, what I call ground zero, where it started really breaking loose last year. And I've had some anxiety this week. And I told my youngest son that I want to go back. I need to go back. I think that's going to be part of my healing through that, because it started raining and storming last night, and my anxiety all of suddenly, because of the timing and knowing where I was going, my anxiety was spiking. I don't know what I'm going to see. I'll report it. There's been a lot of improvement. One thing I can say about people in North Carolina and all the wonderful people who stepped in to help us, people in North Carolina will come together. We're used to living more rurally. I don't know that that's a verb, but we're kind of used to some self-sustaining skills. But when your house, not my house, but other people's houses, are completely destroyed in a mudslide and half your family is buried in mud, and at this point people are recovering bodies, there's only so much resiliency can do. So on behalf of North Carolina, to this day, I continue to thank everyone who thought about us, spoke about us, prayed for us, brought supplies to those areas. I did not have to get any supplies, thank God. We had what we needed, but those areas were hit hard. Again, they couldn't drink their water for a year. We at least had our well water. When our power came back on, we had the well water. We had the barrels. And I'm going to invest in a Berkey water system, filtration water system. It's on my Amazon wish list, but part of prepping is also knowing what you need, or knowing your wants from your needs. But I do need this. I will need this because of power outages we get when we get storms. But it's saving up for the item instead of going into debt for it. So I feel like we have enough purified water and enough water for the animals that I can save up for it. If it was an emergency, I'd go ahead and put it on the Amazon store card. But I'm going back to the place where it all went to hell last year. And I'm hoping to have a recovery, healing, and an experience that I can come back home and remember something positive from that area. Even though I'm still going to see some stuff that's down, seeing the rebuilding gives me hope. I'll be going back to that. And again, I did not lose what other people lost. And I thank God for that and continue to be in prayer for those people. And it's just, I think it's going to be healthy to go back. I think it'll be healing. I think I need to do this. And this video will be posted probably Monday. And if I post something in between, I'll slap it up. But this one I'll save till Monday because I'm going out of town. There will be somebody here though. I'm not one of those people who puts like vacation photos while, hey, come rob my house. But prayers and good vibes appreciated. And again, thanks to all the humanity that we saw during that time. If you are one of those people who assisted, even sent a prayer for us, I want you to know how grateful we are and how much you are truly loved. Every one of you, regardless of if you knew about it or didn't know about it. So we'll go back. I'll report to you after the fact. Take care. Love y'all. Bye-bye.